Hello, and welcome to the Dungeon Masters Guild House. This is a podcast with me, your host, Matthew Whitby, where I sit down with other amazing DMs Guild creators. And this week, again, I'm getting to the idea of this is actually a weekly podcast. I've kept rather consistent. This week,
You
I'm
can
joined...
do it. I believe in you.
with motivation, I'm joined by Brittney Hay. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello. How are you?
It's like I said, would you say the self-proclaimed mum of at least the Dungeon Masters Guild Discord?
I will neither confirm nor deny that they are all my children and that I have full legal authority to put them in timeout when they are being naughty.
Thankfully, that's something that you haven't really had to
I don't have to
flex those muscles.
No, I haven't had to flex the mom muscles, too much. So
nice. So for those sort of tuning in then, who may not have heard of your other work and stuff like that, what sort of products are you known for on the DMs Guild?
Well, right now I am currently, I'm part of Eat the Rich Anthology Volume 1, did an adventure for that. I have 3 subclasses. The Captain America Patron of Liberty that has the bonus 20th level feature America's ass.
Nice.
I had to. The Circle of Elemental Druid, and what's the other one? Oh, Night Librarian Fighter. I was like, there's a fighter in there, and I've done the fighter, but the biggest thing, I guess, I would say is probably Wisdom Under Fire, which is the charity adventure that I collabed with over 30 amazing creators in the community, and we banged it out in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so that's the one I'm definitely the most proud of, I will say.
So I'm curious then, because obviously, I do my research before I interview people, and looking at your sort of your back catalogue, it does seem like you've sort of dipped your feet in with these sort of subclasses and sort of engaged in some collaborations, and then it feels like you've sort of thrown yourself in the deepest end with not only a collaboration, but something that within 3 weeks is.
It was not. I'm going to blame the fact that I spent the better part of January being absolutely ill, and that sick Brittney is the reason that this happened. Because, I don't know, in my slightly medicated, delirious mindset, I decided that, this is a really great idea, and we're gonna do it. And we're gonna pump it out in first week of February, and it's gonna be great and hot, just I don't recommend doing that at all. Oh, Animal Psychics too. I have been part of Animal Psychics, which was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed that. I made the goose and the Hollyphant and the badger because I'm a Hufflepuff. So
right, I was gonna say getting dibs on the goose, which is probably the most chaotic evil animal in existence.
Oh yeah, well no, because we were developing it around the time when that Untitled Goose game came out, and this was literally I'd say maybe days, maybe a week or so before it was being published, and I messaged Adam and was like, Adam, we have to have a goose. And I'd already badgered him about having a Hollyphant.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you said badgered him about having a badger.
No, the badger was the original one that I signed up for.
Yeah.
And then Descent into Avernus was announced, and then the fact that they were going to do Lulu the Hollyphant. I'm like, Adam, we have to have a Hollyphant. Look at the Hollyphant. Look at this. I basically bullied him into having a Hollyphant. And then the whole Untitled Goose thing came about, and I'm like, Adam, do we have a goose? He's like, no. I'm like, can I make a goose? I'll make it. He's like, well, you have to go talk to Anne, who was doing our layout and our doing our imagery too. I think she was doing the images. And so I was like, hey, Anne, I may or may not have made a goose. Can I please have this? And she's like, if you do not put this in there, I will destroy you. So then the goose ended up happening. So I was basically, I sort of bullied my way into doing 3 of them, which I don't regret. I enjoyed doing each and every one of them. And the goose is my favorite by far, even though the badger, I'm a Hufflepuff. I love badgers. So
No, it's an interesting approach to team collaborations.
I mean,
sort of strong
I
arm.
do not recommend. I will say, Adam, I use the word bullied
Oh yeah,
strongly. It was pretty much nonstop pestering, and he was very gracious and very genuine, like good about the whole thing.
yeah.
And it turned out nice because then it rounded it to a nice even for the animals,
Nice.
So I mean, it worked out in the end. I enjoyed it. I love it. I'm excited. I love that project, and I'm so happy that it got converted to Fantasy Grounds too.
No, exactly. It sounds like when the approach is consistent, polite comments. hey,
and a lot of begging. A lot of begging.
Yeah.
It's a lot of begging. I may be slightly part kobold and be able to use the grovel, cower, and beg
Nice.
feature quite often in my life. Yes. No.
So I guess the question is, so I'm forgetting the name, the Captain America subclass, the Patron of Liberty.
Yes.
I'm curious. So was that your first product released on the DMsGuild?
Yes, it was. Yes.
How long ago was that roughly?
August of last year.
Okay, fair. So
August 1st of last year. So yeah.
Well, what kind of gave you the what was the sort of driving force behind wanting to publish on the DMsGuild then?
Well, at that time I had already been working on Eat the Rich anthology, so I had a little bit of experience. I hadn't had anything published yet because that wasn't coming out until later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, like, it sounds really stupid, but it entirely came about from a really silly. I mean, sadly, most of my ideas come this way, and I don't know why. But a really silly tweet from the Pun Bard. I don't know if you follow the Pun Bard on Twitter. But
if I don't, I will shortly after.
So we engaged in sort of this I don't even know what to call it. It was a just kind of like it was a back and forth. He posted something about Captain America and America's ass sort of the running joke. And then I was like, oh, that'd be kind of fun to, make a class, make a class out of Captain America. And I'm like, and I guess you would probably either go monk or fighter normally for Captain America because that just makes sense. And I'm like, well, what if he was a warlock? Like, what if you're making a pact? Because you think of Captain America, he's made a pact with the tenets of the Constitution of the United States to defend, it's basically he's made a pact with America. He's made a pact with people to defend America. And that's sort of how I was like, well, it could be a warlock. Instead of making a tenet to some sort of like fae or demon or otherworldly being, what if it was just sort of a, hey, I am here for you guys.
Yeah, almost like the patron is like an oath, like a paladin's oath, almost.
Yes, yeah, it's almost like, and that actually I did consider briefly paladin as well, and then having to incorporate using the shield, which is his main weapon, into an actual because shields are used defensively in D&D. They're not an actual offensive weapon unless you have the shield master feat, which allows you to
knock people about with it.
Yeah, knock people down, and that's about the extent of it. So then doing that and making ricochet was clearly a way to go, making it be able to bounce off and come back kind of like a boomerang.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun to develop, and then I had the bonus all of the names, or the names of features are very Captain America Avengers, like we have
Yeah.
Adventurers Assemble, that kind of thing. They're very much based off of that. And then putting extra bonus features, into invocations was a lot of fun too.
So I'm curious again. You spoke about the the capstone of the warlock being something about was it Captain America's ass or America's ass?
This is America's ass. Basically, anybody who it's been a while since I read it, so I may be paraphrasing here, but it's pretty much, and it's a bonus, and I do paraphrase in there that this is a bonus level feature that if your DM allows, you may use.
Yeah.
Not something that is to be used with because it is very much tongue-in-cheek.
Mm-hmm. It changes the tone of like a Curse of Strahd campaign, to say the least.
Yeah, well, like it makes it's I believe the way that it's worded is basically and it kind of goes to like it works for more campaigns that use flanking, which is an optional thing to have. But you have basically it's any I think it's any creature that tries to attack you from behind has disadvantage on the attack.
Nice.
Because of it's America.
Well, like that, I mean, you have to just stand and admire occasionally.
Yeah, you can't look at that beautiful booty and think and be able to attack, normally.
You have to love. You can't fight. You have to love. So
yeah,
making.
So yeah.
I was going to say, making something of a sort of a hasty segue away from asses. I'm curious then. So you actually sort of touched on this a little bit before about your sort of creative process coming almost randomly.
But it is very random. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So is there with all the sort of subclasses and the sort of adventure ideas that you sort of contributed or sidekicks, where typically has the idea sort of stemmed from? Has it literally been like I don't know, midnight thought bubble?
It's most of them are literally just browsing the internet, like literally looking. Like I'll see something and I'll go, oh, that'd be really fun to make into a adventure, or that would make a fun subclass, or that would make a fun D&D monster, or that would like Wisdom Under Fire came entirely because I saw the tweet about wombats, which has been debunked, by the way, which is kind of sad, but
was it that was the fact that wombats they take other animals into their
they make burrows for other animals who are in need, which is, I mean, it's sad that it was debunked, but like that was literally, I saw that and I went, wow, wouldn't that be like a really cool adventure to have, to enjoy, to see unfold, where like this burrow of wombats basically is like, all right, we got to go get all the surface dwellers, bring them into the burrow, and save them somehow.
And I must admit, so yeah, I was fortunate enough to be involved in this project, and I think one of the things of like being involved in it was seeing how quickly it all came together, and just the number of people, just like the artists sort of putting together art, people like throwing, like it seems like that document, within the 3 weeks, it felt like there were like a flurry of days where it just sort of took complete shape.
Yeah, well, and I will say the scariest time for me was that first week of the project where I kind of like gave everybody their marching orders, and then there was like radio silence. I was like, oh boy, there's nothing, we have nothing. I'm like, and I'm sitting there going, oh, I really shouldn't be writing anything for this. I'm the project lead. My job is to manage. My job is to not create necessarily for this. It's just to kind of, be the guiding hand, as were. And then I was like, well, I guess I could write. And then I ended up writing like 7 of the encounters. I did the wombats and a couple of stat blocks. But like that first week was really nerve-wracking for me, because that was also the time where sick Brittney became healthy Brittney. And then healthy Brittney was basically throttling sick Brittney and going, what the heck have you done?
Yeah.
Why did you do this?
It's that point of like, it's too late to get back. You're committed.
The ship has sailed. You have done this thing. Enjoy. But the amount of creative people and like everybody kept everybody on track. I will confess entirely now that it's done and set sail and is awesome, that I had zero idea of what I was doing. Zero idea. I literally was like, well, I've been part of a couple collabs. I know what's worked for me. I know what I've enjoyed. So I'm just going to take that and shove it into this, and hopefully it works. And
so I guess I'm curious then. So one thing that may be useful for the listeners then is, what were some of the things that you took from other collaborations that you were involved in? So I guess the Animal Sidekicks and Eat the Rich, that gave you sort of guidance to sort of...
Spreadsheets are your friend.
Okay, yeah.
Like, and also the other thing too is project guidelines, like what exactly and how exactly you want this thing to come together. Because at the time I was like, well, I'll write part 1, and part 1 will basically just be the setup. It'll be, this is what you have to do. This is the mission. I figured you could have it, we could separate it into, I think we had 6 distinct areas, including the borough, where events could unfold. The biggest thing, actually, and I have to credit, this isn't my design, because I literally went, again, sick Brittney became healthy Brittney, and then healthy Brittney was like, so I went on to the Creators Guild, and I was like, I need a format for how I can do like 300 word max, 1 column, and some of the encounters are not 1 column, like some have extra stuff on there, which is fine, but for the majority, just for layout purposes.
Yeah.
I was like, I need a way to do this that's going to be quick, easy, able to read for the DM, a way to lay out encounters. And Ryan L, I don't know his last name, but Langan, thank you. Bless his sweet, sweet soul, that he came up with a format. So he's 100% credited for the format of how our encounters are laid out, because he did the because I wanted who, what, where, when, why, and how, but you can't, that doesn't really translate too well into like D&D terms. So he was like, well, you have to have the area, you have to have who, you have to have a goal, you have to have, and then you have to have the challenge. What do you want? What needs to be accomplished, and what is the thing that stands in the adventurer's way of accomplishing it? And he very much quickly put out the example one in our guidelines is the one that he wrote. Was quick, simple, easy to understand, 200 to 300 word maximum, and it ended up working very well for us. So it was, so that was great. I encourage anybody who does collabs, even if you are the project lead, to admit when you don't know something and ask for help. You will never, this is something that you will never have all of the answers. I never have all the answers in real life anyways, but like, it is okay to admit that you don't know something, and it is okay to admit that you need help. And leaning on other people is not a weakness, it is entirely a strength. And it is one I think that people need to embrace more when it comes to collab projects.
Sorry, as I say, I suppose it's sort of, that's one of the huge benefits of being involved in a collaboration, is the fact that you have all these people who are sort of engaged in the...
You have voices that you can go to, and you can be like, hey, and a big example for the Wisdom Under Fire was that we actually had a couple of, they're not indigenous Australians, so they were not Aboriginal, but they were locals to Australia. So having them on the project, having Paper Tigress, who literally I asked for, hey, can you just give me like a list of like 20, like fun, flavorful, like that, animals that we can put for stat blocks. I woke up the next morning, I had over 50 with fun facts. Jeez. And like, and they had the places where they live. They went above and beyond what I asked. And that's, like, you have to lean on when you don't know an area, you have to lean on other people's strengths and just trust that they know what they're doing. Like for editing, I've never edited anything in my life. So like I was very happy that I had like Ashton Duncan and other editors who have had experience that I could fall back on and be like, okay, you go, you know.
I think what's also kind of charming about this project is the fact that it is like the inspiration behind it was like, okay, this is going to be a charity piece. This is going to obviously help Australia while they're going through the sort of the wildfires are going.
And I was 100% upfront with that too. I said this is 100% volunteer, so I understand. Even after you like filled out the form, if you want to back out, like I get it. Like I'm not gonna behold anybody to any level of work. If you want to submit one thing, if you want to submit 10, it's completely up to you. However much time you want to put into this, I'm not going. There's no set limit. So I was grateful just to have whatever I could have from whoever wanted to contribute, and the outpouring of support. We had 50 people, who signed up, and we probably retained about 35 of those creators.
It's a good turnaround of stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, so I figured we were going to lose people just to real life or realizing that they didn't have time for this. Or, oh, it's a volunteer project. I didn't fully understand that, so just things happen. So I figured, and I mean, like, I also figured I could manage more than 50, and that would have been insane to even go any higher than that on my first roundabout.
So I guess as well, so are you happy to share how much you've raised so far?
Yes. Oh yeah. No. As of this morning, and I can tell you because I have my computer right here. I can look it up because I have it up. I have it open on a tab, and I check it daily because
always. Yeah.
I'm that person, and I really want to see how much. Oh, come on, confirm form resubmission. I hate when it does that.
So I think that's one of the things about like it's an unwritten curse of submitting to the DMs Guild is the fact that you're now your one tab is always going to be connected to the royalty report on the DMs Guild to eternally refresh it.
Oh hey, but between the time that I checked it this morning and the time and now, as of recording this, we have sold another copy.
Woo!
So that brings us to a grand total donated of $822.79.
That's incredible. That's really well done.
Yeah, and I say raised, not donated, because I haven't donated. The money is still sitting in the guild.
Yeah, because unfortunately, you have to wait the 2 months.
Yep. So I mean, and it's gonna be definitely one of those things that we continue to withdraw from. We have sold 110 copies so far, which is like a silver bestseller, which only is 4%. If anybody knows the percentages, only less than 4% of what is on the DMs Guild becomes a silver bestseller. So the fact that I've got charity project is silver bestseller is absolutely phenomenal to me.
I was gonna say, I was just looking at my notes. I think I've got like it's 0.21% of titles end up hitting Mithril. Because I think I had that when I was speaking with Jimmy Marriott about it.
Oh yeah, my God, if I ever got Mithril, I don't know, I'd be like, I'd die. I'd be dead. I'd be dead on the floor. Somebody would have to cast Revivify on me, or
it'll get there. It'll keep ticking up slowly in the background. So to sort of, I guess, to bring this sort of conversation back to your creative process and when it comes to like either leading or creating, across everything that you've done so far, what has been your favorite part?
Like of the creative process?
Yeah, of the creative process.
I guess it's I'd have to say it's a tie because it's especially after Wisdom Under Fire and leading a project. I guess if you had asked me before this had come out, it would be the different answer. Yeah. But I love the initial spark of the idea. Like you just randomly you're doing something in your daily life, whether it's doing eating, drinking, going on the internet, going out shopping, doing whatever, playing video games, whatever sparks your passion. Read a book, watch a TV show, and there's just something whether it's an image, a line, whatever it is, that something just that creative spark just gets ignited, and you go, oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And then, because my brain is a hamster wheel, it literally is a hamster wheel that will not let me get off until I've squelched that fire. I immediately, at least for me, have to go and start writing down somewhere. That's why I keep a notepad with me all the time now, because I can't, even if I can't access Google Documents, at least I have something that I can be like, because my brain won't let me beat it, won't let me do anything else until I sit and I write this idea down, however vague it is. Whether it's, Captain America as the Warlock patron, or, a wombat player race going around and saving critters and villagers of all manner from from a raging fire.
So I guess in your own words, does it feel like you have a relatively quick turnaround from idea to like a first draft?
That's the other part of my brain that I hate.
Okay, the next question is what's your least favorite part of the project? So that ticks those boxes.
I am a procrastinating asshole. So the fact that everybody's like, oh, you got this done in 3 weeks, has absolutely nothing to do with me, and has everything to do with everybody else that kind of kept me on that hamster wheel turning, and turning in a productive direction versus just spinning my wheels.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is about myself, but like, I will let something go. I've always been like this though. So like, I will let something go until literally the 11th hour, and then I will bang out a 4,000 word adventure rough draft in less than 48 hours, and then suddenly it actually is coherently decent. And I hate that. I hate that it's all or nothing when it comes to me in my brain. And because I've had several adventures, I have several adventures that I'm working on currently that are solo projects for the most part, sans editor and artist and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That I will write a little bit, but then I will like just leave it for like months, and then I'll come back and I'll write a little bit. But if I have a deadline, I'm that kind of person that will be like, okay, I have time. I got 2 weeks.
No, in fairness, like I think I sometimes I am the same way. I do work well under with deadlines, and it's the idea that diamonds are made under pressure.
Yeah.
And what more pressure is there than 1 hour before a deadline to get something done?
Yeah, the last, well, and I will say the last two deadlines that I've had, the last two deadlines that I've had, part of the reason, again, that I didn't get them written, and I actually had all intents to actually get things written and done before my deadline. I was going to be like, yes, January. And then I got sick.
Yeah.
And then my daughter got sick. And then my husband got sick. And then there was literally a period of 3 weeks in the middle of January where we all were at various levels of sickness. And nothing got done. Yeah. Nothing got done except for I decided to take on the collab project.
Which, I mean, as far as things go, I think that probably still works out as like a net positive.
Yeah, no, it was totally a net positive. I loved my experience on it. And again, I'm not as mad at Sick Brittney as I was, at the end of January.
Yeah.
But no, that's the other thing that I guess I now like really about the creative process is watching everything come together. Mm-hmm. Like you just, there's this moment where like, kind of like, I guess maybe I've never skydived before or like parachuted out or jumped out of an airplane, mm-hmm. but I would equate it to this where you're sort of in that free fall and it's like the weight, like your stomach just drops out of you. And then you're not sure if it's good, you're not sure if it's going to happen. You're not sure if it's, you see all the little bits and pieces coming together. And then suddenly just, as you're like really scared that, oh shit, this was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
The parachute opens and you're fine. And just sort of seeing everything to come together, especially on a charity project, was amazing. And I loved every minute of being involved with it, even though I had absolutely no idea what I was doing at the time. And I still kind of don't. I don't know. I mean, I credit everybody who worked on it. Like, I may have been the first cog, but I am a very small cog in this entire creative process, because without everybody who worked on it, and I mean, like, everything that I said on the product page, I said that this would not have been possible without the help of over 30 amazing creators who volunteered their time and talent to make this supplement possible. Their tireless dedication to the project is the heart and soul of this adventure. Mm-hmm. That is entirely true. That is 110% true. I am one piece, and they make up everything else. You make up everything else. It is not because, yeah, I had the idea, but I would have gotten nowhere with this idea had it not been for everybody who, dedicated and volunteered their time to something that, became amazing in the end. And,
I guess I think it can be considered something almost like a symbiotic relationship, and to sort of give you the credit where it's due, because it's the case of like the chicken and the egg sort of thing. It's like I said, all the creators wouldn't have put the effort in if they didn't have a leader to sort of put their chickens behind.
So I'm the chicken and you all are my eggs.
Yeah, it's a horrible analogy, but that's what we're sticking with.
I don't know if I'm ready to have 30 kids. I don't know if I have one and I don't even know what I'm doing with it. I don't know if I'm ready for 30.
But I'm curious. Do you see more collaborations in your future?
Yes, I actually have several that I'm currently working on that are in various stages. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything, so I'm not. I don't know if I'm under an NDA. Well, actually, I know I'm not under an NDA for Adam's project. I asked him about it.
I suppose it is different if you're in the leadership role. So any ideas to sort of continue?
Yeah, actually, I have a couple ideas. The biggest thing right now is that we are moving. You can see the giant mess that is currently all the boxes. My basement. We are currently getting ready to move from Colorado back to Georgia for my husband, and so right now, no, there will be 0 more collab projects until we finish that move in May. After that, I do have some ideas of what I want to do. I have a couple. I have a project that me and Drop the Die are working on, kind of a little bit. It's still in its amalgamation form. It's Christmas based. I bugged him around Christmas and said, "Hey, wouldn't this be a good idea?" Literally like 2 weeks before Christmas, and he's like, "Yeah. I don't know if we're going to get it out before then, but we can work on it next year." I'm like, okay.
I mean, I suppose with a Christmas title, you have 2 release dates. You either release it on Christmas, maybe you can even release it around Halloween. Just
or you do like the Christmas in July thing.
Yeah, you go completely opposite.
Yeah. But then the other thing too is I want. It's not based off of this, but I don't know how do you watch Critical Role at all?
I have dipped it in and out. I'm at that stage where now I keep up with the highlights. Mm-hmm. Just because anytime there big Critical Role moment explodes across Twitter, it's kind of hard to.
Well, I won't spoil anything for anybody who isn't caught up or in the process of catching up, but hopefully anybody who knows a little bit about Critical Role will know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's not based off of this, but the idea is sort of similar. And this is probably going to be a very, very small collab. Mm-hmm. Only a couple of writers, mainly because I've had my fill for the year of big, giant collabs. But I want to do the Happy Fun Ball. It's called the Happy Fun. Well, that's the Critical Role equivalent. Yeah. And basically, it's an pocket dimension place where like there's a bunch of different rooms and different like dungeon rooms, and so I kind of want to do adventure based on that, where the writers submit up to 20 rooms, and then basically it's like a kind of like a More the Kind's Magnificent Mansion, but but the twist would be that every time you open a door, you roll another d20.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know where you would go. And there would be a control room to where you could then know how to control the flow and ebb of this, extra dimensional pocket space. But until you got to that room, you'd be literally,
So it was actually funny enough. So I've actually done a similar project, except it wasn't happy or fun. It was for Isaac May's weird things I found in the dungeon. I created Sinox Snarl Sphere, which is essentially a shifting dungeon of things to kill people, which it's a very sort of evil thing.
Well, we talked about like where you get your inspiration for ideas from, and like around Christmas time, I got this idea. I had this dream, and I don't know why. I think maybe because I was watching The Tudors on Netflix. But I had this dream where King Henry VIII basically was replaced by a doppelganger, which is why then he just started beheading his wives because he went cuckoo bananas. But the nice real King Henry VIII, the nice one. Yeah. Again, this is no way in historically accurate.
No, I'm pretty sure it's been well documented of how much of a bastard he was.
Yes. I mean, his story is incredibly fascinating, but it is not for the faint of heart if you do not like an asshole being an asshole.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those train wrecks where you just are just watching.
It's good to watch,
it's just fun to watch the train wreck of the roller coaster where this guy just completely ruins his life for one thing.
A doppelganger is Henry VIII.
The doppelganger, but he put the nice Henry VIII into a magical mirror, which is basically this pocket dimension of all these different rooms and dungeons. And then his daughters were the ones that figured out that this guy was not their dad and basically enlisted the help of a group of adventurers to go into the mirror and find him.
Oh, nice.
It was a dream I had. I don't know why, but I woke up and I went, well, that's the thing I need to start writing down right now. And the idea. And,
I do like the idea of like, having a dream and be like, well, there you go. That's a D&D adventure. There you go.
And I very rarely remember my dreams. Like I had a really, really bad one a couple nights ago, aka one that you literally wake up and you're sweating. You like wake up in a cold sweat.
Yeah.
Don't remember what it's about, but I still have like that naggingness in the back of my head that like I just have like that uneasy feeling from that dream, and I can't shake it. But and I don't usually remember my dreams. So like when I do, and when it's something like that, I go, well, that's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, it's almost therapeutic to sort of get it all out.
Oh yeah. I think writing is incredibly therapeutic. I think it can be something that you can definitely channel your frustrations into.
No, 100%. So actually, we're looking at like the sort of the next question along the line, and you sort of touched along this at least in the collaborative sense. But what is a sort of lesson that you kind of wish you learned earlier across anything to do with the DMsGuild, really?
Don't be afraid to ask for help when you don't know something. I mean, that's the biggest lesson I could impart upon. And don't be afraid to reach out to other people who are more experienced than you and be like, I don't know how to do this. Please help me.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those people that unfortunately, because of my childhood, anytime that I asked for help, I got in trouble, which I have an anxiety about asking for help. So that's definitely something that I've been working through personally.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing groups and communities like the Discord creators, group, and like just the community on Twitter being such an opening and inviting place has definitely helped me break through that phobia that I have of asking for help, and because the biggest thing is like, oh, you're just being really silly. Like, you can find this information, or why are you asking about this? You can do this yourself. Why are you, there's no shame in asking for help when you don't know something, and you should never be ashamed to ask for help in any area of life when you need it, So that's definitely something that the community at large has really helped me get over, and realize that I have talents in certain areas, but it's okay to it's okay to ask, and it's okay to be like, hey, can you just take a look at this? Or, hey, I've thought about doing this. Has anybody done anything like that they can share their experience with? And we actually there was a big discussion this morning on one of the channels about collab projects and about how useful they are, and about how much they can help, and the downside. I think that they're great for new writers to get in and to be able to have a mentorship program of sorts.
I mean, what was it? That was the whole motivation behind citing animal sidekicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Adam was like,
Adam,
I want everyone to come in. Everybody get involved in this project.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's actually on my list of collab projects after May. Is I'm gonna try to do I asked Adam's permission, that and with his blessing, nice, that I was able to potentially take this. And since the I think currently the sidekicks on D&D Beyond go up to level 15, I want to say.
Yeah, I think
it's either 12 or 15, something around there. But and right now the current book only goes up to 6, so we would go from 7 to 13, 14, 15.
So it's like a supplement for the original book to sort of just like...
Yes, so basically I before we ended the project, I messaged everybody and I said, is anybody interested in continuing, after I asked Adam, anybody interested in continuing your animal into the next, bringing it through the rest of the levels? And a lot of people said yes. I wrote down their names and their Discord handles and the ones that they worked on. And then I also asked, is there anybody who isn't interested but would allow us to use your animal and take it further into that, up higher into the levels? Which there was a couple that also said that as well. And I'm of a mind that you really, even though we legally can, do.
Oh, yeah. In the DMsGuild, that allows you to take content from others, but it does feel like to just take something without getting explicit
permission, it's stealing. It's stealing, and I don't like that. So that's why I because I don't want to use anything that nobody wants, doesn't want me to use.
So. No, I understand. It's lovely to sort of hear that. I think what I kind of like is the idea of when it comes to like asking for help in the community and stuff like that. It's very rarely there goes a time where a call for help isn't answered. But then I'm also thinking about when it comes to the future is I don't know when you hit that tipping point where you feel like you can be the help rather than because like obviously, so Adam felt comfortable enough to be like, okay, I'm ready to sort of take I
can do the thing.
Yeah, I can do the thing. But I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't know if it's ever too early or at any point you can start sort of. But
I have led a collab project and I still don't feel like I'm qualified. I don't feel, like I said, Sick Brittney is the one that's responsible for all of that. Like
Sick Brittney's so ready. Like so...
Sick Brittney has more balls than I will ever have. Metaphorical balls.
Yeah. You just need to, invite them round more. Just
yeah. Apparently, I just need to get sick more often, and then like deliriously sick, and then do something that my sane counterpart would never want in a million years.
This is really bad advice.
No, yeah, do not do this. Do not do this. Please, no.
Yeah, I don't want the takeaway message of this podcast is, I should get sick more.
Let me just go and get the coronavirus. No.
The best project ever.
Yeah, no, please. I mean, honestly, it worked out very well. But that was because I had a lot of very seasoned creators who believed in the project and wanted to help. And if I had complete newbies, I don't know if it would have been as successful as it was. And I just realized that's a map of Waterdeep behind you.
It is, yeah, it was. I'm like I said, I've had it sort of sat on the chair for a while where the glare would get the thing, and now I've recently got it out, so I'm kind of proud to have it.
I was like, I've been sort of staring at that over your shoulder, trying to figure out, like, that map looks really familiar to me. I don't know. And I'm like, it's Waterdeep.
No, it's a map of York. It's, it's
dang it, I don't know what York is. I know that it's an English thing, but that's about it. No, yeah. I mean, honestly, like, the biggest thing is don't be afraid to ask for help. It's also get an editor.
Yeah, it's lovely that these are sort of like sentiments that are echoed by many of the people I've had. So was it? Yeah, this is the 10th episode, and I'm pretty sure that the idea of getting an editor has been mentioned every time. But the sentiment of getting help is a really sort of is a good one, and I think it's nice to know that there are.
Well, not get help, but just don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. There you go. That's much.
Yeah, I mean, you can totally get help too. Yeah. I mean, if that is what you need to do. No, but like, I think what's happening is get help myself.
The format of this podcast at the moment is my guest gives really good advice, and I come in with the worst advice. So
no.
Get sick, get help.
Get sick, get horribly sick, and do something that you would never do when you were working. No, it's all good. No, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's just the cool thing about the community at large is that we are very much, and something that I have been taught, well, another thing too, another good piece of advice is you worked on it, you believed in it, you had a passion for it, for the love of God, charge something, even if it's 99 cents. Put a price tag on it.
Yeah.
For the love of God, please put a price tag on it. You spent time and energy on something. Like my subclasses are priced at $199, and they sell at $199. They sell very well. The next one that I have coming out, which is the Patron of Parenting.
Nice.
Which is literally based on it's Patron of the Great Young Ones.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Is that one's going to be slightly higher because it's going to be sort of a choose your own archetype sort of. So like they'll be different. Well, they'll be different, at each level for a feature game. You have several things that you can pick from. Some will be priced a little bit higher because it was a little bit more work involved in.
It's a nice thing that it's something that it isn't always necessarily offered with classes and subclasses. It's sort of like, even though it's like more flexibility and more a range of options. So no, I'm
I love the flexible. What is it? Build your own the build your own series for subclasses. Build your own bard and I think those are amazing. Like, kudos to building that.
Yeah, they're the greatest behind that. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess to sort of like begin to bring this
all around.
Yeah, to bring it all sort of generally to a close. We've done the sort of like the big takeaways and all that. You mentioned what you're currently working on and what's sort of coming out in the future, and the sort of collabs you sort of have over the horizon.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But keeping it within the community, is there anyone in particular that you'd like to sort of like call out in the DMs Guild community that continually inspires you?
Well, eventually Anthony Joyce has been one of my friends for a while now, and we've never been able to, the streams have never, he's always been busy with all of his stuff, rightfully so. He's got a lot of really good stuff coming out.
Yeah, of course.
Like I said, I'm hoping the one with Drop the Die our Christmas thing gets, because it's a really cool concept, and I don't want to spoil any of it, but it's really cool. I'm very excited about that.
This Christmas.
Yes, it's Christmas. We got a while. It's only February. It's the end of February. We got a while. I developed. We haven't finished it yet, but me and Justice Armin have a bard subclass that we have to finish. Like, I have a lot of things that are like in various stages. I love to work with Anthony. We've never really worked on anything together, but I've got his advice so many times. I probably bugged the heck out of him.
I was gonna say, we made the discovery last week when I was speaking with Justice that apparently him and Anthony sort of have almost like daily phone calls.
Oh my God, they do.
No, it sounds so adorable, doesn't it? It's like,
I love
oh.
it. And I believe it too, because they've worked on a lot of really
Yeah.
good stuff together. Like, I would love to work with them. I'd love to work. I mean, there's just a lot of people that I would really like to work with.
I think that's again. It's not to put like anyone that you don't mention.
I'm like, who am I not mentioning that I know that I want to work with, that I like? I mean, like, but that's the other thing too. Like, I've technically worked on at least there's a lot of collab stuff that I have coming out that Oliver Kegg's Unbridled. I wrote an adventure for that.
Likewise, excited for that to come out.
I'm so excited for Unbridled. It's just stupid. And all my edits are we finished editing yesterday, so yay for that.
Nice.
I'm doing the Princess Project.
Oh, nice, with Ashton Duncan.
Ashton Duncan, I think. Yeah. Wait, no, Ashley May. Ashley May is doing that one, I think. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff that's currently like halfway through completion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm technically the project lead for Adam's adventure sidekicks for Curse of Strahd, because that's my favorite.
Exciting.
I'm not a horror person, which is really weird, but Curse of Strahd is my favorite hardcover so far.
It's a nice adventure. I quite like it.
I like it because if done right, when you can 100% win, but you can also at the same time 100% lose, because there's things going around in the background.
Yeah.
Because he is ancient, he is the land, he knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's gonna get by him.
It's like that. I think it's one of the ones where, like, it's hit on so many points of like being in a such aggressive land and dealing with and obviously like trying to find ways to sort of overthrow Strahd.
Ashton Duncan was the one for the Princess Project. She was the creative lead.
Because I know that was it. So Ashley May is working on a royalty related project.
That's where I got confused. The wires got crossed there, because I see her talking about that on the creators Discord all the time. So like, yeah,
no,
like they're the same. They're sort of the same thing. But
I feel like they should communicate. There's some significant overlap between these projects.
Oh yeah, there totally is. Like I'm excited about that project. I'm excited. And I'm just excited to kind of see like what the year brings, like, because we don't know. It's the end of February right now at time of recording.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there could be something, kind of like Unbridled Oliver Kegg's thing that like literally comes out of and that came out of a random too. Like, there's a lot of really good projects that are coming out of just random tweets. Like, apparently we need more random tweets in the world.
Again, so to add more to my bad advice, always be on Twitter. Every second, never take your eyes off it, because you will miss the tweet that has the project idea on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think, and the thing is too, is I think we definitely need more people like Adam who are willing to be like, come to me, my children.
The shepherd.
Like, come and, they take a chance on somebody. And I didn't have anything when that happened, when he asked me to be part of that, I didn't have anything except for subclasses.
Mm.
I never made a stat block in my life, let alone a psychic stat block, which was completely, and I now am like psychic stat blocks. I love them. I want them in everything, because you can literally make a 3 to 5 person adventure, but then you can tweak it in such a way where you have psychic stat blocks.
Yeah, that's
so
then fill the gap.
So then you can have maybe a 2-player plus a sidekick, and it can still work. And I love that idea. And we need more sidekicks is all I'm saying. I want more sidekicks. Get them out.
No, I think I've got a venture project on the horizon that's sort of who's going to have those sort of
sidekicks. I mean, and I almost, and if we have time, and if I have time to do it, maybe I will. I have the notion that eventually I will put, for Wisdom Under Fire, I will go back and I will take the 5 pre-gens and I will make them into sidekicks, so that it can be played with the less than optimal party group. Because that was something that I wanted to do for that, but we just kind of ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, if we have the pre-gens, we have the player race, that's enough for now, but I can go back and I can add when we have more, and after this, and hopefully this weekend again at time of recording, probably after this has been, probably this will be published after this has happened, but Wisdom Under Fire will have a Fantasy Ground conversion go up on DMsGuild sometime this weekend.
Nice.
The weekend of February 22nd.
Yeah, so I believe if everything goes according to plan, which me by saying this, everything isn't, this should be up around the 27th.
So it'll be up for about a week after this has been done. But we'll have a Fantasy Ground conversion that was done by the lovely Robin Nix. Nice. Literally messaged me 2 days after Wisdom Under Fire went up on the guild and was like, would you like me to do a Fantasy Ground conversion? And I was like, yes. She's like, I will do it 100% gratis. I'm like, yes. I'm like, you don't have to. I was going to suggest a small fee because I know these. He's like, no, it's for charity. I'm like, okay. Oh, that's and I mean, I double checked with the project lead, the other project, the people on Wisdom on the server where we have, because this is, even though I could literally say yes, do the thing. I want it to be I still want this to be, even though it's done, I still want this to be a collaborative process. No. If I decide that it needs something, I want to make sure that I have input from everybody and be like, hey, this is a thing that I was asked about. Is there any reason why we should do it? And they said, no, go and do it. It
definitely sounds like, your just approach to collaborations or involving in taking on projects and stuff. You have a very sort of ethical and stuff. I think that's the best way to put it. Stuff like
it's not a monarchy. I'm not like a king that's sitting there and going, my rule is my law.
Not like King Henry.
Oh, shall bow down to me. Because I think honestly the best collabs, even though the project lead should definitely have a clear vision of how things go, the best collabs are ones that vision is clear, but then everything else can be 100% whatever the people involved make it.
Yeah. No, I must admit, I think looking at the time now, I think we're at towards the end of our hour that we have.
I think you are right, because we started a little past the hour, and now it is a little past the hour again.
First and foremost, thank you so much for joining me. If people wanted to...
It's been lovely. I've enjoyed this chat. We should have more of it.
We should. If people want to find out more about this stuff, or get the Fantasy Grounds version of Wisdom Under Fire, where can they find out more about you?
I am on Twitter at my Twitter handle is at FNDungeonMom. Okay. Capital F, capital N, Dungeon Mom. It'll be down. It's down. It's down there.
Down there.
You can go on DMsGuild, type in Wisdom Under Fire. You'll by the time this is done, you'll see that the Fantasy Ground version will have been up and running. And there will be I will say quickly, there will be a bundle price for those that have already purchased the PDF version. The Fantasy Ground version will be discounted to half off. So
very nice.
The price tag currently for Wisdom Under Fire is $14.99. The Fantasy Ground version will be the same price, but for those that already have the PDF, you will be able to get it for about $7.25-ish, like $7.50-ish. I don't know. I can't do half maths in my head right now. So
it's like if you just say it'll be higher, that way when they click it, they'll be surprised by how much lower it is, and they'll be like, "Whoa!"
Yes, no, it's gonna be double the price of the original one, and no, it's not. It's gonna be for half the price. So if you, and the great way that bundle prices work, a little pro tip on DMsGuild is if you already own half of it, it will knock off the price of the one that you have already, so you're just paying the seven something money for the
reduced thing,
the reduced price, the half off.
Buy the bundles. Buy every bundle.
Yes, buy the bundles. Bundles are good.
Nice. Again, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now we just I need to think of a decent way to end it.
I don't know. Get help.
All I'm gonna do is, hi, I've been Matthew Whitby. Thank you very much for joining the podcast, and